Welcome to Sarah History. Stories of wars, remarkable people, forgotten places, powerful ideas, and the extraordinary events that shaped human history. Cleopatra is remembered as the beautiful Egyptian queen who captured the hearts of Julius Caesar and Mark Antony. But that is only part of the story. Behind the famous romances was something far more dangerous, a political strategy that allowed Cleopatra to survive in a world dominated by Rome, and for nearly 20 years, she used it to keep Egypt independent. In 51 BC, Cleopatra VII became Queen of Egypt. She was only about 18 years old, but the kingdom she inherited was already in serious trouble. Egypt was wealthy, but its ruling dynasty was divided, and Rome was becoming the most powerful force in the Mediterranean. Cleopatra understood something immediately. Egypt could not simply defeat Rome, so instead of trying to destroy the Roman power surrounding her, she learned how to use it. Her first weapon was not an army, it was knowledge. Cleopatra was unusually educated for a ruler of her time. Ancient sources describe her as multilingual, and she was known for communicating directly with different peoples of her empire. She understood that a ruler who could speak to people in their own language could control a room before an army ever arrived. But her greatest challenge came from inside her own palace. Cleopatra's younger brother, Ptolemy XIII, became her rival. A struggle for the Egyptian throne erupted. Cleopatra was forced out of Alexandria and began gathering support. Then, suddenly, the most powerful Roman in the world arrived in Egypt, Julius Caesar. Caesar had come to Egypt during the Roman Civil War, pursuing his rival Pompey. Cleopatra needed Caesar, but getting close to him was almost impossible. According to the famous ancient account, Cleopatra secretly entered Caesar's presence concealed in a bundle of bedding or carpet. Whether every detail of the story is literally true remains uncertain, but the political meaning is clear. Cleopatra understood the value of surprise. Instead of meeting Caesar as a defeated queen begging for help, she presented herself directly before the man who could determine her future. Caesar supported Cleopatra. Soon, her position was restored, but Cleopatra's strategy went much further than simply gaining a powerful ally. She needed Egypt to remain wealthy. She needed the throne, and she needed a future successor who could protect her dynasty. Her relationship with Caesar produced a son, Caesarion. For Cleopatra, this was not merely a personal relationship. It connected the Egyptian throne to the most powerful family in the Roman world. But then everything changed. In 44 BC, Julius Caesar was assassinated. Cleopatra had lost her strongest Roman connection, and Rome itself was falling into another struggle for power. Many rulers would have panicked. Cleopatra adapted. The new Roman power struggle eventually produced three major figures: Octavian, Mark Antony, and Lepidus. Cleopatra chose Mark Antony. This was another calculated political move. Antony controlled enormous military resources and needed money and supplies. Cleopatra controlled one of the richest kingdoms in the Mediterranean. Their alliance benefited both sides. But Cleopatra did something even more remarkable. She did not simply become Antony's partner. She turned Alexandria into the center of a powerful Eastern political world. Egyptian wealth supported Antony's ambitions. In return, Antony restored territories to Cleopatra and strengthened her position. Cleopatra also carefully used religion and royal symbolism. In Egypt, she presented herself in connection with Isis, a powerful goddess associated with motherhood, protection, and kingship. This was not simply decoration. For an Egyptian ruler, religion was part of political authority. Cleopatra understood how to make herself appear not merely as a foreign monarch, but as the legitimate divine protector of Egypt. Then came one of her boldest moves. In 34 BC, during the donations of Alexandria, Antony publicly recognized Cleopatra's children and Caesarion in a spectacular ceremony. The message was enormous. Cleopatra was presenting her family as the foundation of a new political order in the Eastern Mediterranean. But this gave her greatest enemy exactly what he needed: Octavian. Octavian realized that defeating Antony would be difficult, so he attacked something else first: the Roman imagination. He portrayed Antony as a Roman leader who had become controlled by a foreign queen. Cleopatra was transformed by Roman propaganda from a powerful monarch into a dangerous enemy of Rome. Octavian's message was simple. This was no longer just another Roman civil war. Rome was supposedly defending itself against Cleopatra. The strategy worked. In 31 BC, the armies of Octavian faced Antony and Cleopatra at the Battle of Actium. The battle ended disastrously for them. Their forces collapsed. Their position became impossible to recover, and Cleopatra's 20-year strategy finally reached its limit. Egypt could not survive against the full power of Rome. In 30 BC, Octavian entered Egypt. Antony died after believing Cleopatra had already taken her own life. Cleopatra then met Octavian. She knew what Roman victory meant. She would not remain an independent queen, and she understood the fate that awaited defeated rulers displayed in a Roman triumph. Soon afterward, Cleopatra died. The exact method remains uncertain. Despite the famous story of the ASP, she was only about 39 years old. With her death, Egypt lost its independence and became part of the Roman world. But Cleopatra's story did not end there. For centuries, Rome's version of Cleopatra dominated history. She became the seductive queen who supposedly distracted powerful Roman men. But beneath that legend was a much more complicated figure: a ruler who inherited a collapsing kingdom, a politician who understood Roman power, a monarch who used alliances instead of trying to fight every enemy directly, a queen who understood wealth, religion, symbolism, diplomacy, and succession. Her greatest strategy was not defeating Rome. It was surviving beside Rome for as long as possible. And for nearly 2 decades, Cleopatra succeeded. Rome eventually conquered Egypt. But Cleopatra left behind something Rome could never completely destroy: a legend, a mystery, and the unforgettable story of the queen who stood between Egypt and the rising Roman Empire. This was Sarah history. If this story revealed a different Cleopatra than the one usually remembered, leave a comment with the word Cleopatra and share the story with someone who loves history. Like the video and subscribe to Sarah History for more extraordinary stories from the past, because history is full of people, places, wars, ideas, and secrets still waiting to be uncovered.